Hi guys. So this video is just basically going to show you guys what I want you guys to do today while I'm not here. Block 5, Mrs. Lalinde is going to be here to help you. Block 6, Mr. Delano will be here. I'll be back halfway through block 6, hopefully. All right, so when you guys come in tomorrow, what I did was I collected all your bottles and I put them here. Jordan, one of my Biotech 3 kids, is going to be putting them in the autoclave for you before you come to class. So they have already been autoclaved for you. So the point at which you are going to get them is the point that I'm at right now. So if you come over to here, so this is our autoclave. So the first thing that we're going to do is you want to make sure that the temperature and the pressure are all the way down to 0, so that way when you open it, it doesn't like steam out. And then all you do is you shut it off, okay? You bring this knob back to 0, and Jordan knows how to do it, so it should already be off. So you just untwist the handle, you pull it, and you slowly open it. You want to make sure you don't put your face near it, because if any steam comes out, you don't want to get burned. So I'm going to open it up, and inside will be all of your bottles. It's going to be really hot. So you want to use these hot hands. There'll be some hot hands sitting over here, and there'll be an autoclave glove. So all you do is you pull out the tray very carefully. You don't want to pull it out too much. You might want to ask actually Mrs. Lalinde or Mr. Delano to pull the tray out all the way. And you're going to take your media bottle. So I'm going to grab a media bottle. I only have one, so I'm just going to grab it. It's going to be very hot. Don't touch it. Even though it doesn't look like it's hot, it's very hot. Okay? Very carefully, I'm going to do that because it's slipping. I can feel it slipping. I'm going to bring it back to my lab bench. Okay? Once I get it back to my lab bench, I'm going to close the cap all the way and make sure that it's closed. Because remember, it was autoclaved with the cap open so the steam can get in there. But now I'm going to close it because I don't want it to get contaminated. At your bench, you're going to have plates. So what we need to do is these are the Petri dishes that you're going to use to pour your LB auger into. You need to keep these sterile as possible. So you're going to follow aseptic technique procedures. So I have here 5 plates set up. I'm going to see if I need more. Based on how many plates I pour, that's how many plates I will leave you guys on the lab benches. So they'll be all set up. So what we're going to do is you'll have plates set up here. Jordan's going to assist. So all of these have a lid. If you can see, they have a lid and they have the bottom. What we want to do before we even pour these plates is we want to label them with our names, initials, and dates. Now, we're not going to label the top because if the lid falls off, that means the bottom part where the bacteria is just going to be hanging out with no label on it. So when we label these, we actually want to label it on the side where the bacteria are going to be living, which is the underside. So I'm going to take a plate, and Jordan's going to show you how to label them. You know how to label? I can find a Sharpie. Okay, so she's going to flip it over. She can label. Be very careful not to open it. Sharpie. That's why it's important to keep the benches straight.
You guys couldn't have set this up.
I didn't know I was missing a Sharpie. Jeez. Yeah, around the edge. Then put LB auger. Good. So you want to have your initials, today's date, and LB auger. And if you can try to write it along the edge, because when we're growing bacteria on it, the bacteria will be growing around the middle, and you want to be able to see it. Okay, so now that she's labeled this one, she'll go ahead and label all the other ones. And then all we'll do is we'll flip them over to get them ready, being sure not to open them. Okay, so she'll label those after, so we're just going to do this one first. Okay, so now that it's poured, or now that it's labeled, she's going to get ready to pour. These need to be almost at room temperature, not cool enough that it's going to harden, but cool enough that you can pick it up without burning your hands. This one is pretty cool right now, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pour it. So what you want to do is you want to arrange your plates. Again, the top side up, the label on the bottom, and you want to put them very close to the edge without opening the plate or dropping the plate. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take your bottle. We're going to do something that is going to ensure sterility, and I think I talked about this in class. So when we open this bottle, we're not going to just open it up so everything falls in. We're going to turn it on an angle, then we're going to loosen the cap. Okay, so we're ready to go, so I'm going to keep it on an angle. And I'm going to bring it very close to my plate, and I'm going to do what's called Pac-Man the plate. So we limit its exposure to the air as much as possible. So I have my cap. I'm going to very carefully uncap it. I'm going to ask Jordan to hold it so I don't have to put it down on the table. So just hold it sideways like this. Okay. And then all I'm gonna do is pack me in the plate. I'm gonna open it up just enough to get my bottle in there. Pour it about halfway filled. Keeping the bottle sideways, never wanna bring it up. Pack me in the next one. So I got about 3 plates out of this one. You might get 3, you might get 4, you might get 2. You don't need to overfill it. You need to make it at least halfway. So now, once it's empty, you're all done. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna come over to the sink. You're gonna wash out your bottle using some of this Alkanox and a brush. You can leave your label on here, because what you're gonna do now is you're gonna use this bottle to make your LB broth. So the LB broth is gonna be in this container labeled LB broth base. And when you do your calculations, you want to make sure that you're using the correct formula. And the formula for this is 20 grams of medium in 1 liter of water. So you're going to have to calculate how much of this media you're going to need for your volume of water for your broth. If you have any questions, feel free to ask Mrs. Lalinde or Mr. Delano. Jordan will be here block 6. If you find any of my biotech students that took biotech last year, they'd be more than happy to help you. Everybody wave. And that's it. Leave these here, let them harden. We're just gonna push them back and let them harden. Once they're poured, please don't move them. Let them sit and harden up on their own. They can stay there overnight as long as they're not open, and then when I come in, I will put them in later in the day. I'll put them in the fridge for you. And we're good to go.